What's happening here, that nation? Welcome into today's show. I'm your host, Trace Gerard. We're going to be answering your questions from the live chat during our live Saints or bi-weekly Saints live show on Wednesday afternoons. Be sure to subscribe and tune in to our next one if you want to ask a question. But before we get started, I want you to hit the thumbs up icon and like this video if you love the Saints. Who dat saying they're going to like this video? I know you will, so drop a like on this video. Without further ado, let's break it down. Mikey Taylor coming in with a $10 donation. I appreciate you, Mikey. Let's get Derek Carr, draft defense with the first round pick, maybe get a young quarterback, and maybe wait till next season for a quarterback. Who dat? All right, lots to break down here. So Derek Carr, I think I agree with. I think you go get Derek Carr no matter what. I think that he's a great, or he would be a great addition. Obviously, he might not be everyone's first choice, but I do think that Derek Carr would be a great fit and a good leader in New Orleans, and for that reason, I think that's why I'm very high on the Saints going and getting him. Draft defense. I still think you go with defensive tackle in the first round. Go get a guy like Brian Breesy. Go get a Siaki Ika. Go get the guy at a Pitt. His name is slipping me. Kalijah Kancey, I believe is his name. But, yeah, go get a defensive tackle like that. I think those are interesting names. Even Keon White out of Georgia Tech would be interesting. Young quarterback, my top three are Hendon Hooker. Jake Hayner's pretty good. I like him. And, I mean, obviously, Anthony Richardson as well, but I just don't know if the Saints are going to be able to get him. But I do agree with you, Mikey. Go get Derek Carr. Go draft a defensive tackle in the first round. Use your second-round pick for Hendon Hooker or another position of need. But appreciate you for your donation. Guys, hit me up on social media. I'm going to be answering questions here for about the next 8 to 10 minutes. But if I miss your question or if you want to chop it up and if you get to this video later, feel free to hit me up on Instagram and Twitter at TraceGerard48. On both of those, I made it real easy for you to find me. I also am going to put the links in the comment section and in the description of this video. But let's get to more questions. This one coming in from Seth Centipede. If we get Hendon Hooker, can Marquez Callaway be good again? All right, so I honestly, maybe he could be good. But Marquez Callaway is a free agent this year, and I think that Marquez Callaway could benefit from having a guy who can get the ball downfield and, maybe allow him to cook a little bit more. I mean, when you talk about Marquez Callaway's production last year, I mean, he had 16 receptions, 158 yards, and a touchdown, average 10 yards per catch. But in previous seasons, he never really got to cook outside of 2021, where he was one of the top wide receivers for the Saints. 46 receptions on 84 targets, just under 700 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And in that year, he averaged 15 yards per catch. So, I mean, you go get a young, talented quarterback who can air it out, who can also use his legs, who can be a dual-threat offensive weapon. I do think that he could make Marquez Callaway good again, but he also do have to re-sign him in order to make that happen. All right, Courtney, get the big beads on. That's why we put on this. That's why I put this one on. And we have more, so during our Saints Now happy hour after this, we'll put on some more beads. But get the big beads out. Since we went all in for Deshaun Watson, why would we not go all in for Lamar? I think that's actually a pretty good point. And honestly, I think that you should go all in for Lamar. At least try. At least try to go all in for Lamar. And I actually have a trade idea that I cooked up earlier in an earlier video that I discussed. If you can find that one, Seeps. But I think that you could go and try and throw everything at the Ravens to go get him. This is actually the trade idea I cooked up. Go give him Jameis Winston. Go give him this year's first-round pick, next year's first and second-round pick, and then 2025 second-round pick. Maybe you can make that happen for Lamar. I mean, he's a dynamic, extremely talented quarterback, one of the most athletically gifted players in the NFL. Yeah, I don't think – I mean, even if you don't end up with him, go all in and try. Make the calls. All right, question coming in from Zach Wong, one of my homies. Any chance the Saints sign OBJ? All right. Death, taxes, and Odell Beckham Jr. to the Saints. I guess those are the only 3 things inevitable in my life. Yeah, I mean, sure, go bring OBJ, but I don't think he wants to come back here. I mean, this is a guy who is coming off of you have to call it how it is. He's still coming off of a Super Bowl championship. He's still coming off of a Super Bowl ring. Didn't play last year because of injury. Lots of lots of rumors around him going to the Bills, the Cowboys, maybe the Chiefs. A lot of buzz. But the stats have always been impressive. The stats have always been good. Odell Beckham Jr. is a talented wide receiver. I just don't think you go pay Odell all that money to go for a production that you could get cheaper elsewhere. That being said, though, if you want to come back on a vet min deal, if you want to get paid, if you want to just come play for the hometown team and have a good time, play some ball for the black and gold, absolutely go bring him in. And funny enough, Cameron Jordan did get on Twitter. So Odell Beckham Jr., I saw this tweet. Odell Beckham Jr. tweeted a video of him doing workouts, like a kind of a hype video, training montage or whatever. Cam Jordan quote tweeted it and said this: "Looking like they at full tilt. Don't ignore my texts when free agency starts up." OBJ replied and said, "Brother, I never ignore your texts." So Cam, the greatest recruiter in the state of Louisiana, is back at work. But guys, I got to ask you. It seems like every 6 weeks we bring this kind of thing up. But do you want Odell Beckham Jr. in New Orleans for the first time in the 2023 offseason? Let's discuss it. Type OBJ for yes, type no BJ for no. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. All right, another one coming in from Mikey, $5 super chat. Not going to happen, but give the Bengals your next first and second round draft picks for the next 4 years and get Joe Burrow and his wide receiver JaMarr Chase. Dude. Just close your eyes with me, guys. Close your eyes. Could you imagine? Joe Burrow, JaMarr Chase, Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara. I mean, wow. Obviously, it would never happen. Obviously, money would have to be even less real than it is right now. That being said, of course I would try and make it happen. I don't think that gets it done, though, Mikey. I think you got to honestly, I think you'd have to give them your first, second, and third round picks for the next, 6 years. Why would they ever want to give up what they have with those two? They're already likely going to lose T. Higgins because they have to pay JaMarr and Joe. Damn, it would be cool to see him come into New Orleans and rep the Saints, but I just don't think it's going to happen. All right, next one in from Blamack, my homeboy, Blamack. Fresh picture, by the way. Alvin Kamara on the all-white edit. That's pretty clean. Should the Saints trade for Mac Jones? Well, maybe. You could. You could look at it. I think you could throw together an interesting trade package, actually. But in terms of what Mac Jones has done for his stats over his career, 2021, 67% completion percentage, 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Was a Pro Bowler his rookie year. Interesting to note. Last year, though, 65.2 completion percentage. Yard production dropped a little bit. Touchdowns dropped a little bit. But also interceptions down to 11. Career stats as they follow. It is kind of hard to give an evaluation on Mac Jones because he pretty much had a defensive coordinator calling his plays for him. What I'll say, though, is the Saints did target Mac Jones in the 2021 NFL draft. So for that reason, I think that it would make sense. He's young. I don't think he likes playing in the cold. I have this conspiracy theory that Mac Jones, if you get him out of cold weather, he will thrive. The kid is from the South. He grew up, I believe, in Jacksonville, Florida, and he played college ball at Alabama, and then now he is going and playing professional football in Boston and then Northeast where it's colder than hell. So, no, I don't think that it would be a great idea, but sure wouldn't. There's certainly worse ideas out there, in my opinion, at least. But if anything happens, if anything goes on, if there's anything notable about the New Orleans Saints, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications because we are going to make videos for all of the latest Saints trade rumors, draft coverage, news, all sorts of free agency hype, everything that's going to be going on. We're going to have you covered. And if you are subscribed, type gang in the comment section, and I'll be sure to give you guys some shout-outs in a future video. I appreciate all of y'all who have subscribed, but go down and join our squad. All right, next question in from Tyler Helton. Thoughts on JuJu? So JuJu Smith-Schuster he's going to be a free agent this year, and I think that he would be a guy that the Saints should give a call. That being said, coming off of a Super Bowl ring, he's going to command a lot of money. Last season, 78 receptions, 933 yards, 3 touchdowns. So didn't break 1,000. Maybe you could have him as a veteran wide receiver too, on the other side of Chris Olave. I think that would be an interesting idea. Let's go to the next one. Bro guy, number 9, rocking number 7 in the picture. What's your prediction for the Saints record next season and with an ideal offseason? All right. So I'll go ideal offseason, and then I'm going to go Saints record. So ideal offseason, I'm going to say sign Derek Carr. You still draft a quarterback like Hendon Hooker. You draft a guy like Tyjae Spears. You bring in a veteran or a big-bodied wide receiver like an Allen Lazard. You also draft defensive interior in the first round. Add some young safety depth. You do have Smoke Monday though, so I want to get Smoke Monday healthy. That's what I'll say. Get him on the field. I think that'd be interesting. I think that's my ideal offseason plan. But in terms of the schedule, so your home opponents, you have the Bears, Lions, Jags, Giants, Titans, Falcons, Panthers, Bucks. For the away schedule, this is just the opponents that they have. You have the Packers, Texans, Colts, Rams, Vikings, Patriots. Suck it, Chiefs. We're going live for that. For the Vikings game. Patriots, Falcons, Panthers, Bucks, obviously. So I'm going to go just as things stand right now. This is before the draft. This is before anything has gone on, any crazy moves. I think you beat the Bears, lose to the Lions, lose to the Jags. So that's 1 and 2. I think you beat the Giants, beat the Titans. So what is that, 3 and 3? And then you sweep Atlanta. So that would be 5 and 3. Split 1 with Carolina. I think they'll be better. So that'd be 6 and 4. I think you sweep Tampa Bay again this year. So that'd be 9 and 4. Beat the Packers. Hot take depending on when the season is. Maybe you lose to the Texans depending on how D'Amico gets that team looking, depending on what goes on there. But I'm going to chalk that up I'm going to take that one. I just feel like there's a loss in there somewhere. Colts you beat. Rams you beat. Vikings you lose to. Patriots you beat. So what is that? Yeah, I think that the Vikings are going to have another good year, and for some reason the Vikings and the Saints always are so back and forth. So, what would that be? I said what, like 6 losses, 7 losses? So 11 wins, 11 and 6. I think that's a pretty good season. I'd say I would take an 11 and 6 season honestly for the New Orleans Saints, considering the current offseason situation you're in. All right, next one in, Cade Lopez. Should the Saints sign Carson Wentz? I just saw Carson Wentz. No, absolutely not. Not even once, not even going to think about it. Get him as far away from me as possible. When Taylor Heineke is starting over you, no. What I will say is the case study for how quickly Carson Wentz fell off will be interesting. Wasn't good. Just wasn't good. Helped take the Eagles to a Super Bowl. Leaves Philly, goes to Indianapolis, goes to Washington, doesn't find success anywhere. I want nothing to do with him. It's going to be a no from me, dog. But I also have to ask y'all this. Should the Saints sign Carson Wentz? Type in for no. Type H in for hell no. I want absolutely nothing to do with that. I want absolutely nothing to do with Carson Wentz on my team next year. So appreciate the question, Cade, but no thank you. All right, next one coming in from David Rowe. Hashtag Saints. Culture hasn't been an issue here for quite a while, so we definitely don't need a rebuild. Our drafting and free agent targets need to be spot on. So I agree with you, David. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and I'll continue to say it. I will never advocate for a rebuild. I will never think that a rebuild is the right thing to do. I understand why people say, let's blow it up. Let's make it, let's just gut it all, start from scratch, and start from the ground up. But at the end of the day, no, it's never a good idea. I think that it shows how poorly run an organization could possibly be. And I also think that blowing up and rebuilding a team just is a slap in the face to the fans. It's a slap in the face to the organization. I will never be a fan of rebuilding. So I agree with you. Free agent targets definitely need to hit. Draft targets, I'd love to get another draft class like we did with that legendary 2017 class. I mean, we could hit on every pick again. That would be awesome. We hit on a bunch of them last year, so it would be interesting to see how that pans out. Kendall Taylor, next question coming in. If Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay, Derek Carr goes to the Jets, could Jimmy G go to the Saints? He certainly could. Jimmy G, though, is going to command a lot of money. I know that the Saints are in salary cap hell, and if you want to go and sign Jimmy G, you're going to have to clear up some space. So at the end of the day, I could see the Jimmy Garoppolo getting signed for a contract similar, if not more than Derek Carr, where around that 25 to 30, $35 million range. I wouldn't mind Jimmy G in New Orleans. I think that he's way more injury prone. That's where it kind of gets iffy for me in the sense of an older and veteran quarterback. I don't know if Jimmy G how much he has left in the tank, to be honest, but that I will say, it'd be worth giving a call. And Kermit the Frog, he's saying that Wentz is the same thing as Derek Carr. Clearly hasn't watched either of them play football recently. But anyway, be sure to subscribe to Saints Now by Chat Sports. We are going live every other week. We're going to be live for some draft coverage, some free agency coverage. Anytime the Saints make a move, we're going to have you covered. If the Saints do bring in a big name like a Derek Carr, we are going to be live, reacting to it, breaking it all down, giving our reactions. So please, gang, feel free to subscribe and join our squad. We're trying to become the #1 Saints YouTube channel across the internet. So help us out. Subscribe today. Join the squad. Who Dat Nation, it's always a pleasure. Y'all stay golden. We'll catch you next time.